I'm going to use that camera for that. Nga lupa khats thang. Leon chong lo. Kanalo, alang camera be okay. Camera. Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome. Ani kapiari mo.
Good afternoon. My name is Zhou Dongmong. I am the president and CEO of Burma Research Institute. I'm so sorry we are late due to the technical issues unexpectedly, and I warmly welcome all of you to this briefing. Our briefing will proceed as follows: the opening remarks and the plenary session, and followed by Q&A sessions. Let's get started with the opening remarks. Senator President Holland could not be with us today in person, but the Senator has sent us a great message. And we are also grateful to Senator President Holland for his assistance of this briefing. We are grateful for that. And we'll play the videos first. Senator President Holland.
Hi, I'm Chris Van Houten, and I represent the great state of Maryland in the United States Senate. Thank you to the Burma Research Institute for bringing everyone together today, and to Prime Minister Man Win Kain Dan for his leadership and courage at this pivotal moment. Following the sham elections in Burma in December and January, which excluded the country's biggest opposition parties, The military is now moving to install a general as its puppet leader. This is a reminder that the junta continues to deny the will of the people of Burma and to further entrench its illegitimate rule. This is not a democratic transition. It's an effort to consolidate power and try to fraudulently claim international legitimacy. The United States and our partners should be clear. We will not treat this regime as legitimate. For far too long, Burma has endured tragedy and repression. The junta continues to commit heinous acts of violence against its own people. The junta targets ethnic and religious minorities, in particular, including the Rohingya, the Chin, the Kachin, and the Karen, and the Karenni. The United States must continue to support international efforts to hold those responsible to account, to push the junta to release all political and religious prisoners, and to ensure continued assistance to the people of Burma. I'm proud to have introduced the bipartisan Brave Burma Act in the United States Senate, which would strengthen the U.S. response and crack down on the military junta by expanding the targeting of financial networks that sustain its campaign of violence and repression. And thank you to the Burma Research Institute for your endorsement of this legislation. I've also joined my colleagues in urging the Trump administration to take stronger action, to increase diplomatic pressure, to press for accountability, and to make clear that these sham political processes are not recognized by the international community. The United States must make Burma a diplomatic priority to help end the violence and to support a path toward inclusive, democratic governance. The people of Burma, both within the country and outside of its borders, have shown extraordinary courage in the face of brutal repression. Thank you, all of you, for your continued advocacy for sustained support from the United States and the international community. I am committed to continuing to be your partner in this effort. Take care.
Thank you, Senator Chris Van Hollen. Congressman Bill Huizenga also sent us a statement. I'm going to read that statement now. That statement was issued late 2025 related to the sham elections. Today, Congress Bill Huizenga released the following statement regarding elections in Burma. As long as the junta is overseeing the election process in Burma and refuses to allow true opposition candidates, any election under these circumstances should be viewed as nothing more than a sham. I call on all ASEAN countries to refrain from legitimizing this stage and predetermined outcomes. Thank you. It is my honor to present a video message of Honorable Prime Minister Mark Wayne Kantan of National Unity Government of Myanmar. Thank you.
Chair, Ranking Member, and distinguished members of Congress. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the people of Myanmar and the National Unity Government of Myanmar. The Myanmar military's recent election held after the 2021 Myanmar coup d'etat is not a step toward stability. It is an attempt to manufacture legitimacy where none exists. But today, I want to be clear about something even more important for this body. This is not only a question of legitimacy. It is a question of U.S. national interest. For over 5 years, the Myanmar military has proven that it is not capable of governing the country, stabilizing it, or serving as a reliable partner. Instead, it is driving Myanmar into nationwide conflict, economic collapse, and humanitarian disaster. Large parts of the country are no longer under military control. Public institutions have broken down. Violence against civilians, including airstrikes, continues with impunity. This is not stability. This is state failure. And state failure in Myanmar does not stay within Myanmar. It fuels regional instability. It enables transnational crime. It's create opening for malign influence that undermine a free and open Indo-Pacific. The military's so-called election does nothing to solve this problem. It cannot unify the country. It cannot deliver peace. And it cannot be the foundation for stable partners to the United States. But there is an alternative. The National Unity Government of Myanmar, together with ethnic resistance organization and democratic forces, launched the Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union on 30th of March, represents a viable and increasingly coordinated path forward. We are building governance from the ground up in partnership with local communities. We are aligning diverse ethnic groups under a shared federal democratic vision. And we are demonstrating that inclusive governance, not military rule, it is the only path to lasting stability. This matter for the United States, because a democratic Myanmar is not just a moral outcome, it is a strategic one. It's been a partner that contributes to regional stability. It's been reduced space for illicit economies and armed conflict. It's been reinforcing a rule-based order in the Indo-Pacific. So the choice before the United States is clear: continue to treat the Myanmar military as an unavoidable actor, or recognize that it is a central obstacle to stability. Contain the crisis, or help resolve it by supporting those who have both legitimacy and a path forward. We respectfully ask Congress to reject the legitimacy of the military election, deepen engagement with the National Unity Government and democratic forces. It is a viable alternative for the United States and aligns U.S. policy with the reality on the ground, that the future of Myanmar will not be decided by the military, but by its people. The people of Myanmar have not given up on democracy. We ask that the United States stand with them, not only in principle, but in strategy. Thank you.
Now we will play the remarks of Ure and Zhou Zhizhi. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to deliver opening remarks at the Burma Research Institute's 7th Congressional briefing on Burma. After Shan election, U.S. opportunity and challenges. I am Kuru, Chairperson of the International Executive Council of Foreign State and Chairperson of the Korean National Progressive Party. This briefing comes at a pivotal and crucial moment. On April 10, coup leader Min Aung Hlaing was sworn in as president following Shan elections that lacked any democratic legitimacy. China and Russia have extended congratulations, unsurprisingly, as the region's principal backers. But the international communities must be clear. This is not a civilian government. It is the same military regime with packages in civilian clothing, seeking to legitimize authoritarian rule. The consolidation of power will deepen regional instability and pose a direct and ongoing threat to U.S. national security and strategic interests in the Indo-Pacific. I extend my deepest gratitude to the people of the United States, the U.S. Congress, and the Trump administration for your continued and principled support of Burma people. I am especially grateful that Congress has condemned this year's election and that the administration has declined to congratulate Min Aung Hlaing on his so-called presidency. I strongly urge both the legislative and executive branches to continue refusing recognition of this regime and to sustain pressure through all available diplomatic and policy tools. I recognize that the United States faces pressing international priorities in the Middle East, particularly Iran. Yet, I appeal to you not to lose sight of Burma. The people of Burma have endured military dictatorship since 1962. Today, the regime continues to launch airstrikes against civilian population and attack religious sites with impunity. In my native foreign state, the destruction of Christian churches and the displacement of communities are well documented and deeply felt. These are not distant statistics. They are the daily reality of our people. The $131 million in U.S. assistance allocated for FY 2026 has been critically important, and I express sincere thanks. I respectfully urge Congress and the administration to maintain and where possible expand their commitment in FY 2027. Such support not only saves lives, it strengthens the resistance and advances our shared goal of ending nuclear rule. On the political and organizational front, I am pleased to share that we have recently formed the Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union, the SCEF. This coalition brings together national unity government. The committee representing the Council and 4 ethnic resistance organizations, including Korean National Progressive Party. SCEF is designed to unify, coordinate leadership at all levels, addressing unresolved failures of 1948 and uphold the legitimacy of our federal democratic revolution as we advance toward a new constitutional framework. We are a unified force in Burma and across diaspora, committed to toppling the military regime and building a federal democratic union in which all people are represented, protected, and free. I ask the United States Congress and administration to continue working with us toward that vision. Thank you for your solidarity and your support.
Next video.
Dear esteemed friends, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I would like to thank the BRI for the invitation to take part this important event. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to the US government, members of Congress, organizations, and individuals who have stood with us until today in our pursuit of democracy, human rights, and justice. Currently, the illegal military junta has just installed a manufactured civilian administration. This is a transparent effort to facilitate Myanmar transition from the military dictator to the uniform civilian leader seeking a veneer of legitimacy of an inherently unlawful regime. This maneuver is not only a victory of the true will of the Myanmar people, but a direct effort to the internationally recognized democratic norms. Conducted under a state of terror, while opposition parties dissolved and the legitimate leaders of the community and questioned in prison. This process of so-called election was designed for one purpose only, to provide a thin veneer of civilian respectability to a natural military dictatorship. Till now, junta has escalated its atrocity. Even from their flagrant aggression in December and January to the present, the military country to launch airstrikes and arson on civilian places. Villages and internet displaced person camps displacing over 3.6 million people since the coup. The junta continued illegal control of the country does not only threaten the lives and property of Myanmar citizens, but also undermine international rules of law. The proliferation of transitional crimes, including online scam operations, pose of a growing threat to regional and global security. Criminal crimes continue to threat the national interests of the United States and your own people. The United States categorically rejects the illegal reforming of any administration resulting from this petulant process. A government born of systematic violence cannot and will not be recognized as a legitimate representative of the Myanmar people. Despite recent mass amnesty involving thousands of detainees, let us be clear, these are tactical PR moves, not signs of reform. Over 20,000 people prisoners remain in custody. With all the immediately or unconditionally release of all political prisoners, including State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi and President Nguyen. Release a fraction of those wonderfully detained while maintaining the machinery of repression is an insult to the democratic aspiration of the Myanmar people. Like the junta attempts rebrand itself as civilian clothing, its action on the ground remains operates. In 2025 and early 2026, we have seen a horrific surge in airstrike targeting civilian infrastructure, schools, hospitals, religious sites, and disagreements threats. The gender strategy is clear. While they control government, they destroy. The reliance on area bombardment against their own citizens is a confession on the total failure to secure popular support. The United States denounces these ongoing atrocities in the strongest possible terms. The use of paramotors, drones, and heavy aircraft to ring fire to Buddhist festival and Christian villages is a violation of international humanitarian law. Current situation present is a pivotal moment for U.S. foreign policy. We face a crossroads between a full of stability and the moral imperative of democracy. Please reject and refuse to recognize the Parliament, Congress, and the administration installed by the autumn, and advocate for immediate cessation of attack on civilian and demands and hired humanitarian access across Myanmar. Support accountability efforts, including evidence collection and cooperation with international human rights mechanisms. Thank you.
We now move to the panel session. Our first speaker is Uchozo. Uchozo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jozo. I am the advisor to the acting president of National Unity Government of Myanmar. First of all, I would like to thank the Burma Research Institute, BRI, for arranging this congressional briefing at an important juncture for the United States engagement in Burma. I also would like to mention my sincere appreciation to Senator Chris Van Hollen for his support for this briefing, Congressman Bill Huizenga, and the US Congress for supporting our people's struggle for liberty, democracy, human rights in Burma. I would like to start by mentioning that the military's new proxy administration should not be seen as a softening or a change of course, as it has continued to target civilians with relentless airstrikes despite fewer crises, committing atrocities across Myanmar. The Myanmar military and its proxy regime cannot further United States interests in Burma because their interests are fundamentally misaligned with the United States. For example, the scam centers are key revenue source for military and byproduct of military's conflict management strategy. Next, I would like to focus a few minutes on the future opportunities for United States to protect and promote American interests in Burma and the region. First, I would like to mention the most recent March 30th formation of the Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union, SCEF, in Myanmar. It marks a decisive step towards a new political landscape that can effectively provide unified political leadership for a peaceful federal democratic union. It is important to note that the SCEF is a pivotal organization formed to unite political and armed resistance groups to provide unified voice and military coordination. it compromises key resistant actors, including the National Unity Government, NUG, ethnic resistance organizations, and the CRPH, representing democratically elected people's representatives. Second, I would like to mention that the Steering Council, SCEF, highlights the contrast between junta's atrocities and our vision for a new peaceful union based on equality, self-determination, and justice. SCEF provides a great opportunity to the United States, our neighbors, and international actors, working together to end violence and instability and to build a peaceful, prosperous Burma. Not only does SCEF strengthen the operation capability of the resistance, but it simplifies the US and international actors' coordination with the resistance movement and could unlock new form of partnership in the numerous areas where the United States and resistance have aligned interests, such as containing the illicit economy. The United States and the Congress should take this opportunity to support this historic development and work with Steering Council SCEF towards sustainable solution to end violence, build a peaceful federal union for all people of Burma, and regional stability that will help promoting mutual interests. Third, I would like to highlight the three opportunities for the United States and international community. Number one, work with SCEF to develop law enforcement partnership to disrupt scam centers and trafficking networks that harm Americans and global community. Number two, provide support on targeted humanitarian aids, our subnational governance, and civilian protection programs to build resilient communities and commercial opportunities in resistance-controlled territories. Three, deny legitimacy to the military proxy new regime in Naypyidaw. Finally, I would like to conclude my remark by telling you that unlike military junta, our people resistance movement is aligned with the United States on its core policy objectives. It is also important to note that as long as the Myanmar military is in power, conflict and violence will persist, and destabilizing illicit industries that harm Americans will persist. Now, it is time to stand with us on the right side of the history. Thank you very much.
Our next speakers are Paro Sotone, Umuzo U, Siama Mesabepu, Siamong Tung. Now I'm inviting Siaparo Sotone to speak. Can you hear me, Sia? Can you hear me, Sia Parosotoni? Can you hear me, Sia Parosotoni? I think we have his video remarks, no? Okay,
Yes, this one.
okay. Yes, we do. Thank you. So we're going to play his video remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished leaders, I am Lusoloni, the head of Foreign Affairs Department of the Korean National Union KNU. I'm very happy to be here for representing the issue of scam. As representatives of the Korean National Union KNU, we would like to reiterate our policy framework in response to the crisis of proliferating scam compounds operating along the Burma border. Networks deeply linked to human trafficking, forced cyber fraud, and transnational organized crime under the protection of Burmese military, the Border Guard Force (BGF), and the Democratic Korean Benevolent Army (DKB. We are determined to prevent the further expansion and militarization of these criminal economies, which are sustained by armed actors and continue to undermine local governance, regional stability, and human security. In practical terms, we are taking systematic steps to identify, monitor, and document scams compounds along the border, to intervene where possible to prevent their expansion, and to disrupt the logistical, financial, and operational networks that sustain these activities. To date, we have identified at least 9 additional scam compounds in areas controlled by the DKBA and BGF in the Eastern Dorna range, and we have recorded precise GPS coordinates for each site. Their security is provided by DKBA and BGF leadership. The KNU stands ready to work with the United States to dismantle these scam centers, recognizing that it cannot address the problem alone. However, we must also be frank about the limitations we face. The KNU alone cannot dismantle these highly sophisticated, deeply entrenched, and far-reaching transnational criminal networks. Effective action requires sustained technical, financial, and operational support, as well as coordinated leadership among all affected countries and institutions. We therefore call for more flexible, inclusive, and operationally grounded approaches that recognize and engage local governance actors, including the KNU, as essential partners in confronting these networks. In this context, we remain committed to maintaining communication and coordination with Thai authorities, including law enforcement and border agencies, sharing relevant information and supporting cross-border victim return and humanitarian efforts. We also seek to deepen direct or indirect engagement with the United States, including coordination with the Scam Center Strike Force, Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, through intelligence sharing, cooperation in investigation related to human trafficking and cyber fraud, and technical collaboration on victim identification and dismantling operations. In addition, we call for strengthened engagement with international NGOs and anti-trafficking networks to work with us in coordinating victim rescue, medical care, protection, and safe and dignified repatriation. In closing, we emphasize that these scam compounds are not isolated criminal enterprises. They are part of a broader system of exploitation enabled by conflict, weak governance, and protection by armed actors. The KNU is committed to acting responsibly and decisively but meaningful progress will depend on coordinated, sustained, and principled international actions. Thank you very much. God bless America. God bless Puerto Rico.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much to the US Senate and US Congress for your continued support to our country, especially the Senator Chris Van Hollen for granting this venue for this briefing. And thank you very much, Burma Research Institute for organizing this event as well. And thank you, all the participants coming and attending this briefing in person as well as online. I don't want to repeat what my previous speakers have said about, which is mostly the sham elections, the process of the sham elections. So I wanted to go into another part because you know the military junta is now trying to disguise itself with a civilian facade in an attempt to deceive the international community. But unsurprisingly, no credible country has recognized this outcome, except a few governments that have consistently supported the junta, such as, you know, China, Russia and Belarus, and so on. I'm very much grateful to the United States for refusing to recognize this illegitimate regime, and I urge the United States to maintain this position despite the junta's cosmetic attempt at rebranding. At the Philippines, which is the chair, right now chair of the ASEAN, has called on the junta to implement the 5-point consensus without endorsing its deceptive tactics. At the United Nations as well, the Blue Book continues to recognize our duly elected President Uwimi and State Councilor and Foreign Minister.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Aung San Suu Kyi,
Taking it back.
as the legitimate leaders of our country.
Taking it back.
I respectfully request the United States continue its support
I'm
for
taking it back.
our permanent representative at the United Nations, Ucho Moto, at the United Nations, and uphold his credentials at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly. Because, you know, the junta now cloaked in civilian attire may attempt to challenge our legitimate position at the United Nations. Beyond the United Nations, the junta would likely attempt to gain legitimacy across international platforms by presenting representative under the new civilian guise. Denying such legitimacy remains one of the most effective tools available to the international community. In doing so, the United States will also help counter the growing influence of authoritarian actors in the Indo-Pacific, an area rightly recognized as central to the US strategic interests. It is important to emphasize that the junta has made no meaningful changes in political reform, economic liberalization, or the protection of individual rights and freedoms. It remains the same regime, the same system, simply repackaged. It is, in essence, all wine in a new bottle. As a result, the long-standing challenges facing our country and their spillover effects on neighboring countries, the region, and the wider international community, even including the United States, will persist. The junta will continue to rely on authoritarian partners such as China, Russia, and even Iran for economic and political survival. Meanwhile, issues such as online scam centers along border regions, what Bruce already said about very recently, and drug trafficking and other forms of transnational organized crimes will not only continue, but likely to expand even further. Given the absence of any meaningful change in the junta's behavior, I respectfully urge the United States to maintain and, where possible, expand targeted sanctions. This should include business networks and financial institutions that facilitate money laundering and illicit international transfers, including the Myanmar Economic Bank, in addition to the Myanmar Oil and Gas Enterprise under a full specially designated nations listings. Finally, I would like to express my deep appreciation for the $131 million in US assistance allocated to Burma for fiscal year 2026. This support reflects a clear and meaningful commitment to advancing the cause of a federal democratic union in our country. Timely access to these funds will be critical, and I'm confident they will make a tangible difference on the ground. I respectfully encourage the administration to maintain at least this level of funding as well in fiscal year 2027. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today in person and online. First of all, I would like to appreciate Burma Research Institute and also the Senator Chris Van Hollen and Bill Husengar for their strong support for the people of Myanmar. My name is Maize Bepu. I am a Kachin woman, long-standing advocate for minorities' rights and discrimination against ethnic and religious minorities in Myanmar. I want to thank you for the opportunities today regarding Myanmar's post-elections and the impact of the newly rebranded military regime on women and girls in Myanmar. I am here today as a long-standing advocate for democracy and women's rights in Myanmar and the coordinator of Women Advocacy Coalitions Myanmar, with my mother organizations, the Gender Equality Network, as a member. I am Executive Director of GEN, a network made up of over 100 civil society organizations, including peace-building organizations, humanitarians, and development actors in Myanmar. Since the military coup in 2021, over 90,000 citizens have been killed and millions displaced. The health sector has collapsed in many parts of the country, so too has our justice system and environmental protection. Runaway inflation has impacted living standards, out-of-school children has skyrocketed, as well as arbitrary arrest and torture, and the perpetual use of sexual violence as a weapon of war, felt particularly but not exclusively by women and girls. While I could take all day and still not have enough time to list the atrocities, permit to recount one which still follow me. The Basiji airstrike of 11 April 2023 in Kambalu Township, Sagaing region. Around 800 citizens, including families and children, had gathered peacefully for the opening ceremony of a local administrative office and school. Without warning, a fighter jet bombed, the crowd killing at least 165 people, including 30 children and pregnant women. These atrocities were carried out by the junta, the same junta that has just concluded a sham election, We must not be fooled by the junta's cunning attempt at normalization. Business engagement with the junta will not moderate its behavior and human rights abuses. The junta is not primarily trying to maximize broad-based economic growth or international legitimacy in the interest of the people. How could it, when it indiscriminately killed its own citizens, torture female political prisoners, and rape women? The junta is maximizing cohesive survival, including cash flow, foreign exchange, arms access, aviation fuel, and territorial control. Determined to challenge this control, women have taken on multidimensional roles, from frontline humanitarian responders to community service providers. Attack on humanitarian personnel have also become disturbingly common, including the horrific incident in 2021 Karenni State, where a Save the Children aid worker and a truckload of internally displaced women and children were killed and burned while trying to reach a safety. I am proud to acknowledge that the United States and its partners have kept sanctions on military-linked entities. The junta converts revenue into repressions to sustain its authoritarian rules. US business interfaces have very little influence if the regime has alternatives. As soon as the junta is to be held accountable for its malpractice in business, they can lean on China, Russia, the regional workarounds. For instance, Iran delivered approximately 175,000 tons of jet fuel between October 2024 and December 2025, which enabled the regime to carry out blanket bombings on civilians. At least 2,500 airstrikes were recorded between 2021 and 2025. Even after the people were devastated by a 7.7 magnitude earthquake in 2025, disoriented by the impact, the bombs still came raining down. Of which, women and girls have been most affected with increasing burden of care, women-headed households, and living under the constant threat of sexual violence by the regime. Yet they are far from passive victims. In the face of staggering threats, the women of Myanmar have proven indomitable, rising to every challenges. They are not merely survivors. They are exercising profound agency by building collective care networks and sustaining their communities from disintegrations while finding paths to survival despite global inaction. Survivors of sexual violence and other forms of human rights violations continue to speak out, lending their voices to documentation efforts that ensure these atrocities do not go unnoticed by the world. Women leaders in ethnic states are reinforcing gender-responsive early warning systems, showing immense strategic agency to protect the most marginalized. Another critical point to note is the wealth of evidence that suggests often indirect linkages between the regime and scam cities. The junta allies and militias, such as the DKBA already mentioned by the KNU leader, protect scam hubs and revenue flows back into regime-linked actors. These compounds are a global problem affecting everyone, including innocent US citizens, especially vulnerable retirees and isolated individuals. With the sham elections, which all the speakers repeatedly mentioned about, it is still the same actors, the same profits, the same human suffering and human trafficking, including women and girls from Myanmar, as well as other nationalities. Despite the danger of a face-off with a powerful criminal network, women activists and survivors are at the forefront of counter-reacting this industry, exposing how scam operations target youth, women and girls for trafficking and exploitations. For my last point, you will have noticed I have kept calling the elections as a sham. This is no wordplay or rhetoric. The elections fail to meet internationally recognized standards for genuine elections. The failures are structural, not incidental, only 42% of territory was covered. There was a restrictive legal framework, and the entire system was engineered to ensure a predetermined outcome. The junta set the rules, chose the players and the referee. Electoral system violated equal suffrage principles and distorted voter representation. It was designed to advantage military-allied actors such as the USDP. Key pro-democratic parties boycotted, leaders of major democratic political parties remained imprisoned or exiled, and ethnic minorities parties are still barred from participation. Nonetheless, at least 11 million people boycotted the polls. The junta responded with excessive violence and criminalizations of dissent, charging at least 404 civilians, 80 of whom are women, with lengthy prison sentences. During this 6-week election period, 1,288 attacks, including 308 airstrikes, were recorded. I urge this US Congress and committees to not support any form of engagement with the junta, not in civilian clothes, but support initiatives that engage directly with the people. This will include humanitarian channels, cross-border assistance, support to local governance in resistant health areas, technical preparations for post-conflict recovery, and targeted diplomacy that bypasses junta control modalities. In these emerging spaces, women's leadership has boundless potential, the very leadership we have seen flourishing in the federal democratic structures built over the last 5 years. While I cannot safely return home, and I want the millions of my countrywomen and men to feel the sense of freedom in their lifetime, most of whom have never known sustained peace. Thank you for your time and your leadership. I now give my time and will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
The song hit la three, the song to three abe.
Shall I start?
Yes, yeah. Can you hear me? It's your mom, Tunkin.
Yes, I can hear you well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Good evening from London. Thank you to BRI and Zotumong organizing important timely briefing. It is very important for our country, and I would like to thank everyone for joining this important event. And I am Tun Kin. I am Rohingya and leading Burmese Rohingya organization UK. The Burmese military have destroyed our country. Their rule for almost 70 years has been a bigger disaster than any earthquake, flood, drought, or a storm. They are an economic disaster, a diplomatic disaster, a political disaster, an environmental disaster, and human rights disaster. They have broken every major international human rights law. They have committed genocide, committed crimes against humanity, committed ethnic cleansing, committed war crimes, and they have committed crime of apartheid. They use as a weapon. They use rape as a weapon of war. They have jailed thousands of political prisoners over many decades. They have made our country poorer while they spend our money on bullets, bombs, and planes to stay in power. They enrich themselves, their families, and their friends. They are not just a military regime. They are a criminal gang with a worse record than trials or Yakuza. They have killed us, jailed us, and made us poorer. We stand in solidarity with all other minorities facing persecution at the hands of Burmese military, including our brothers from Shin community, Kashin, Karani, Karan, Shan, Mon, and Rakhine, and others who are facing crimes against humanity and war crimes. So we are all united in our opposition to the Burmese military. And we are for democracy. As we are for democracy, this must include full citizenship rights and equal rights for the Rohingya people, whose citizenship rights been stripped away under 1982 citizenship law, denying us our identity, our rights, and our future. Democracy cannot exist if any entire people are excluded from belonging to their own country. If you have elections, people are excluded from those elections because of their ethnicity or religion, like in 2015 and 2020, then you don't have a democracy or transition. As we are for human rights must be universal as Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If you have a genocide against one ethnic group, war crimes and crimes against humanity against other ethnic groups, you don't have human rights and you don't have a transition. We want a future Burma that is inclusive, federal and democratic, where all ethnic and religious groups are equal, where rights are respected and protected, and where no one is persecuted because of who they are or what they believe. The Rohingya must be part of that future. We must never again be abandoned. Under the so-called transition period from 2010 until 2021 coup, Rohingya faced a systematic escalation of operation human rights violation, with two military offensives killing thousands and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee, and ongoing genocidal policies continuing afterwards. The international community looked the other way, sadly, or so did most people in Burma. Now the Burmese military are beginning another sham reform process, like the last one, during which they were allowed to get away with the genocide. There can be no real transition without accountability, without that justice. Burmese military will continue to commit these crimes. The election was a sham. The reform process will be a sham. The question is, will the international community be willing to go along with it again? Will the USA, United States, and EU, European Union, and United Kingdom, and others once again pressure the people of Burma to compromise with their oppressor? Will they once again back a sham reform process and sham peace process and condemn our country to years of more oppression and poverty? Don't tell me that the dialogue with the military which committed genocide against my people is a solution to what is going on. Don't tell us that there is a little international community can do to help when the Burmese military depends on arms and revenues from the international community. Burmese military companies run on American technology. The Burmese military are fighting for their survival. The sham elections and sham reform process is part of their survival plan. We request United States, please do not make the same mistake at the last time and throw another lifeline to Burmese military. I would like to request US Congress the following: do not recognize the criminal regime, cut the global arms embargo, support justice and accountability mechanism as Rohingyas are facing ongoing genocide and other ethnic groups and all the people of Burma are facing crimes against humanity and war crimes by the Burmese military. Recognition of genocide need to be implemented as Rohingya people for the Rohingya people and ongoing humanitarian support. Pass the Rohingya Genocide Accountability and Protection Act, because justice, protection, and a real path for one of the world's most persecuted communities cannot wait any longer. I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for questions. The floor is now open. Who has the first question? I hope they will be able to ask questions as well. Thank you. Okay.
That's okay. I think I can talk about it enough. I'm Neil Dietz with the Campaign for New Myanmar. I'm glad to hear thank you all for being here today and providing such a great briefing. Glad to hear the call to the U.S. to not recognize the sham elections. I'm curious what you've heard, if anything, from ASEAN member states so far. And if you could speak a little bit more to how you heard the elections being received around the world so far. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I apologize. Can you please repeat your question, because now we are recording
Yeah.
the briefing.
Yeah. Testing? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, thanks. Kiel Dietz from Campaign for a New Myanmar. Thank you for being here and giving this great briefing. I'm curious what you've heard from other countries, especially ASEAN member states, about their reaction to the sham elections thus far. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Pete, for your question. So as far as the ASEAN is concerned, ASEAN is divided among themselves when it comes to the some specific positions toward our country. So in the case of the recognition of the elections of the newly so-called civilian government, some of the government sent their congratulatory letters to the newly formed so-called civilian government. But as ASEAN itself, they have not sent any congratulatory letter to the new one. And then the chair, like I said in my statement, the chair of the ASEAN, which is the Philippines, hosted the foreign ministers meeting without inviting any representative from the new military regime, which indicated that they have not changed their position toward our country, which is 5-point consensus. They newly reiterated their position by telling that they called on the military junta to continue to recognize and implement the 5-point consensus, which means they have not changed anything so far.
Any questions from here or from online?
I can see the point here.
Okay.
HH.
H.
That's it.
H. Can you please introduce yourself? H. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Helen, and I'm not sure the event will be posted online, so I don't want to identify myself. That's why I changed my name as AH. Actually, I'm Helen. Actually, I have a question to NUG. So according to this sessions, I would say we have all of the information statistically and how our people in Burma suffer a lot. I mean, more than enough from this dictatorship military regime, and also this is like long-term revolution for our country. So from the 2021 military coup, I would say, fortunately, we got a NUG government, so we have a lot of expectations for our NUG government. So right now, as we aware of, military regime is doing the repeated patterns we all are very much aware of, like internationally or domestically. But what we expect is, like this is repeated patterns of military regime. And also we are fighting the one military regime. They never change. And we have like a group of, the people, a group of leaders, a group of organizations, a group of people. We are fighting against the same military regime. So we are repeatedly informed that internationally, like we are asking for the collaborations and support as well. So, but my question is might be stupid, but as a citizens of Burma, please let me allow that stupid question, and please don't think I'm rude. But I'm really want to know what are the challenges. Like we are fighting against the one institute, and I mean in by different generations. So what are the challenges like to unity as a revolutionist group or organization to fight never change institute, to inform internationally to against them institutes and not cooperate that institutes, and we are fighting against that military regions over like 7 decades. So my question is to NUG is there specific challenges as a NUG government to unity ethnic groups or other different groups to fight that same military regime?
Helen, there is no stupid questions at all. So your questions is great. I'm sorry I couldn't hear your affiliation. Are you with any organization or?
Actually, no. Honestly, I am one of the generations of 2021, and I'm also doing some activities individually, and I'm affording to do something. So I would say I'm
In the
individual.
United States or somewhere else?
United Kingdom,
Oh, okay, okay.
apparently.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate your question. So who is going to take that question? Okay.
Thank you, Helen, for the great questions. It's not like Xiao said, there's no question that's stupid. It's a great question that you asked on behalf of people of Myanmar. I think the similar questions being asked by so many citizens of Burma. Your questions is, what are the challenges for the NUG for the unity among the and ethnic nationalities as well? As you mentioned, that NUG was formed 5 years ago. Actually, tomorrow will be the 5th anniversary of NUG. That's after the coup, as all of you know, 2021 coup, the people parliamentary representative from the CRPH and NUG was formed by CRPH and NUCC as a result of Federal Democratic Charter, FDC. I'm proud to say that we have achieved so much success in past 5 years, but still short of our expectation and people expectation, including what you said about apparent unity. The challenges is that not about the unity to fight against military dictatorship, to end the military dictatorship. The challenges is that but we have a very diverse community in Myanmar, and we have different sufferings at the different generations. Military dictatorships over 5 decades, 6 decades, and we suffer a lot. So we fought for our own way, different ethnic nationalities in the remote regions, or even peoples in the cities like Rangoon. They fought differently. Armed resistance, peaceful strikes, and then everyone knows that suffering. So since the NUG was formed, we've been working together with different ethnic groups, especially ethnic resistant groups. They've been so generous to support our PDFs, train and support. Now we as a representative, legitimate representative of people of Myanmar, we were working together with ethnic groups to provide the governmental services and our subnational governance. Now, and then we, at the same time that we've been fighting militarily against the junta. So we have a coordination, military coordinations, in the different times, the different regions, different sectors. But like you said, apparent unity, for example, one command structure, apparently we lack of that. We have a C3C in the north, we have a J2C in the south on the military coordinations. Now we politically, now as I mentioned in my opening remarks, SCEF, Steering Council for Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union, was born on March 30th. Among the representatives of elected representatives of people such as CRPH, that represented the parliamentarians, NUG, and another pillar is, first pillar is about the ethnic armed organizations and stuff, so that, and we have Kachin, Kareni, Karen, Chin, and NUG, CRPH, and then we have another pillar, women representatives, and then we have women representative speakers here as well. So this is the beginning of the unified voice. This SCEF will talk about one policy with one strategy. So this is the unified voices, the unified political leadership that we will provide to end as soon as possible against this brutal military. Yes, another challenge is the one that, as other speakers mentioned, the military has support from, I would say the absolute support from the different nations, powerful nations. Why our resistance movement having the political and diplomatic support, not the material support. So, for example, China, Russia, Belarus, and even Iran, they are providing the arms, fighter jets, drones. Iran providing the drones as well as the jet fuel. So those are the things that we are demonstrating to the world, the international global community, that we are united and we will have a unified voice, so that our people deserve for the support to protect themselves and end the brutal military dictatorship. I hope that I answer your question and address your questions. And I mentioned about not only challenges, but also the opportunities to end this brutal military dictatorship. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Any other questions from here or from over there? I think, no, I know and I understand Helen's question goes to the NUG. I think it would be good to hear from another perspective, from the women's perspective. We are fortunate that Selma is here. Can we hear from the women's perspectives about the challenges and the unity? Thank you, Selma.
Thank you, Xia. So, from the woman perspective, the major challenges, like in our opinion, is trust building, because our internal conflicts have started since the independence back in 1948. And then, all the ethnic resistance groups being fighting for their own determinations, equality, and control over their own natural resources. So there were so many unfulfilled promises, and the trust. The brokenness of trust between many ethnic minorities groups, as well as the the main majority Burmese population. So I think trust is one of the key challenges. And another thing is like, of course, like everybody's have different interests. And, like sometimes it is very difficult to give up or very difficult to compromise their own interests over the national interests. That's from my perspective. And the third point is to be able to overcome all these challenges, like and also understanding all the grievances that ethnic resistance groups been having over many decades. It is very important for the national unity government and the Burmese population, like which is the majority in our country, like they should understand and accept, why those trusts could not be rebuilt, and then accepting and understanding the grievances they have been through over the decades. And it is very important to create a common equal ground which everybody could come and talk equally, honestly. And the last point I have, observed, as a civil society organizations or a woman representative, like we need to be honest and open, especially when we are making compromises or when we are making dialogues, because when one of the side might feel the other side is not honest and not willing to accommodate what they need or what they request, it is very difficult to continue the dialogues, and also it is very difficult to reach to the consensus or the common ground. Of course, like we've been fighting the same enemy or the same, we are trying to reach to the same goal, which is to build a federal democratic union. But I think there are many different approaches and there are many different ways to reach out there by the different ethnic resistance groups. So what we are trying, what we need most important is to find a common way which everybody could agree and trust each other. Thank you, Zia.
Question?
Okay.
Dr. No.
Dr.
No.
Is that Dr.?
Here.
Dr. No. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you for this very important event at a very timely manner. I'm a cardiologist from Texas, and I have been involved in supporting the revolution. And I have much of the true and deep communication with the NUG. So, first of all, we are at the junction, like Miss H from UK expressed. Well, where are we now? Which we were fighting for the past 5 years intensively, and that is a continuation of the past 65 years. And knowing the military is there, military was there and continue to be there at the helms of the power. So my observation as a citizen of Myanmar and as a diaspora, that's my observation. One, we cannot get out of the box. We boxed ourselves in a very silo-mannered approach in the revolution. It can be ethnic background, it can be political background, and also many a times it can be a personal agenda. We understand that I, including myself, has unknowingly biased against the ethnic group. And after this 2021 coup, I realized we are part of the ethnic groups. There's no majority or minority.
Hello,
So
Doctor. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Can you please brief your question? We don't have much time.
no, my question is because I like to express as a citizen. So what we are missing. That's why if you think I can express, I would like to give 3 minutes of my time and your time, if you can yield that. Because I have listened to many meetings and I like to give you my observation.
Yeah, we would appreciate your question. Now we don't have time, so I'm so sorry. Can you please ask question, not comments, or we don't have time?
Then my question is, what would be the goal of this meeting and what would you like to set the agenda from this meeting?
Okay. As you will find in our programs, the goal of this briefing is the after the sham elections, U.S. opportunities and challenges.
Well, then again, we all knew that we can, read on the online and news. What we like to have is what do you get out of the current situation? The very important message I got today is that SCEF is the beginning of the true unity. So how much we have penetrated to the people and public and the international community about the importance of SCEF, and what are we going to do next step, and how are we going to
Okay,
make them
I
success.
really appreciate your question. I got it. I think it's about the SEF. Yeah, we have less than 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. No. Thank you, Siazo. I have less than 1 minute to talk about one day event. So anyway, now short answer is that SEEF just born a couple of weeks ago, right? So that we have a different leadership group, different level. Our structure is like different level of the operational level, and then also the political leadership and military coordination. Your question, to answer your question, how are we going to communicate to the public and also the international actors? So first step that we announced, and then recently we just had the press conference to inform the public and international community through the media, and then we will have a series of interaction with the public, diaspora, as well as the international communities from the respective the officials from the SCEF. So I hope that it answers your questions. So I'm not sure that I can over the 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sia. Okay. I guess we don't have questions more. I would invite Sia Umuzo if you have concluding remarks, maybe less than 1 minute. Or Siama or Sia. Less than 1 minute each. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. With 1 minute, I would like to give a message about our solidarity and unity among different stakeholders of our country, which is very important for the success of our resistance. So we will try for that. And then please help us as well, the international community, especially the United States. Your assistance is very important to us. So please continue. Please remain your positions unchanged. Thank you.
Thank you, Xiang.
Thank you for the United States constant support on our democracy movement. And we hope that United States will continue supporting our fight for democracy and also like helping the regional stability, like by helping our countries. Because like Myanmar issue is not the internal issues alone, because like Myanmar is one of the ASEAN countries, and when we understood that United States have a strong relationship with the ASEANs, and like by supporting Myanmar, it will be mutual benefiting not only to the US but also the region, the ASEAN regions, including Myanmar and the other ASEAN countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Xiang.
Okay, less than 1 minute. I will just repeat from my opening and then closing remarks. I just want to highlight that the Myanmar military and its proxy regime in Naypyidaw cannot further United States interests in Myanmar because their interests are fundamentally misaligned with the United States interests. And finally, I will conclude my closing remarks by telling you that unlike military junta, our people's resistance movement is aligned with the United States on its core policy objectives. It is also important to note that as long as the Myanmar military is in power, conflict and violence and instability will persist, and destabilizing illicit industries that harm American citizens and the global community will persist. So this is the time to stand with us on the right side of the history. Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess I have maybe 10 seconds to conclude. Okay, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate again Senator Chris Van Hollen for assistance for this briefing. And we have recorded this briefing, so we'll be sending you this recorded briefing. And then also we'll be sending you the video messages and all of the statements to you. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow. So you will see all of these recorded messages and Q&As and also the statements. So thank you. And the briefing is closed now.